Okay, Algebra 1 students, let's see how you did on this week's review problems. Okay, the first problem that you had this week talked about Devin dropping a ball out of a window. It's 100 feet above the ground, and this is the equation for that situation. So in the real world, we can often find that math can be represented by equations, even with things as simple as dropping a ball out of a window. Well, in this situation, we have two variables. T is for the time in seconds, and H is for the height above the ground in meters. Now, based on this equation, all we're asked to do is find the dependent variable. Okay, well, we just identified that we have two. We have a T and an H. T is for time, H is for height. So we know that we can automatically mark out pull of gravity and speed of the ball. So that leaves us with two choices, time and height. Well, which one is dependent on the other one? The answer to that is the height of the ball. How high the ball is depends on the amount of time the ball is in the air. Okay, moving to the next one. Okay. Which of the following tables corresponds to the function y equals x squared minus 2x plus 3? Well, we could take the time and we could make a table, and we could use this function to find out which of these y values go with our x values. And if you'll notice that the x values are the same in each one of these tables. All right, but the easiest way to do this is to go to your calculator, and let's see if I can go to y equals, and then let's just plug in our equation. Y equals x squared minus 2x plus 3. Okay, and then to look at the table, I'm going to hit the second button and table, and I'm going to look at my values. And I see that, let me go up a little bit so that I can see all of my values. I see that when x is negative 1, y is 6. When x is 1, y is 2. And when x is 2, y is 3. So these are the three values that I'm looking for, 6, 2, and 3. So let's go back to the problem, and let's see which answer matches that. 6, 2, and 3 is here in C. That matches the graph that we pulled up in our calculator. Now again, if you don't have a calculator, you can just substitute in negative 1 in place of x, and you should get 6. And then you plug in 1, and then you plug in 2, and so on. So that is one more way to do this problem. Okay, let's move to the third problem that you did this week. All right, this problem says, which of the following statements is not true about the function y equals negative 2x plus 2? So questions like this can be tricky because you're looking for things that are not true, and so sometimes it's easy to get tricked up on these. So let's take a look problem by problem, or answer by answer, and see which one will work and which one will not. So A says the graph of the function will intersect at 2 on the y-axis. Well, if I look at my equation, I see this 2 right here, and that tells me that the y-intercept is 2, which makes this true. Okay, and again, we're looking for one that's not true, so we're looking for one that's false. So let's look at B. The graph of the function slopes down 2 units and write 1. So that's telling me that the slope of my equation is -2. And that is true. So B is not the correct answer. So let's move on to C. If the value of x is greater than 1, the value of y becomes negative. So let's just pick out a value that's greater than 1. Well, 2 is greater than 1. So I plugged in 2 in the place of x, and I get -4 plus 2, which is -2. So it says the value of y becomes negative. Well, that's true. All right, if the value of x is positive, the value of y is also positive. Well, we just found out right there that that is not true, that the answer was negative. So D is the correct answer for the third problem, your Wednesday problem for the week. All right, at any time, if you want to pause the video so you can write down these answers, please do that. All right, Thursday's problem for the week. All right, what is the equation of the line shown on the graph? Okay, well, I see the graph and I see 4 choices. And when I look at the 4 choices, the first thing that I notice is that these are all in standard form. These are not in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is the form that we like to work with the most. So let's see what we can do with a problem like this. First of all, I want to identify this point right here. This point, 0, 3, is the y-intercept. Okay. And this point at this place is 5, 0, and it is the x-intercept. Okay. Using these 2 points, I can find out what my slope is, and I can write my equation in slope-intercept form. So let's see how we would do that. Okay. There's several different ways, but the easiest way would be to look at the problem and say, okay, I'm going down 3 and right 5, which makes my slope -3 over 5x. And then we already found out that our y-intercept is 3. All right, so the question now is, how would I make this problem, which is in slope-intercept form, match up to one of these, which is in standard form? So I can do this 2 ways. I can change each one of these into slope-intercept form and see which one matches this. Or I could add 3/5 x to both sides. And write down 3/5 x plus y equals 3. Now my problem is in standard form, but it doesn't quite match any of these. But that's because we have a fraction in this answer, but there are no fractions up there. But if I multiply everything in this equation by 5, then I get 3x plus 5y equals 15. And that matches A. So several ways to do this problem. That's just the particular way that I chose to do it. Okay, let's move to the question that you were assigned to do on Friday. Which expression can be used to find the values of f of x in the table below? So anytime I have a table, the first thing I do is I just start to look and see what is my rate of change. Well, it looks like x increased by 2, and f of x increased by 4. And then as x increased by 4, then y increased by 8. And then as x increased by 4 again, y also increased by 8. So if I take this change and divide by this change, I get 2. Not negative 2, but positive 2. So that marks this one off and this one off. Okay, so let's see what happens as I multiply my x values by 2. What is 2 times 2? Well, it's 4. I need it to be 1. So I need to subtract 3 to give me 1. Okay, let's test it on the second one. 4 times 2 is 8, but I need it to be 5. So if I subtract 3 again, I get 5. So B is my answer. I need to subtract 3, not add 3. Okay, so we're doing good. And we have one more question for the week. And that problem is the one that you were asked to do over the weekend. And at first glance, it looks kind of overwhelming because there's so many words, there's so many tables, but I'm going to show you how easy this problem is. It says study the functions. Okay, so a function A is given to us as an equation, y equals 2x plus 7. And then function B is given to us as a table. And the table of values will have a rule, and we'll check that out in just a moment. But it says determine the rate of change for each function. Which function has a greater rate of change? Well, rate of change is also slope. So the slope in function A is 2. And I know that because this is written in slope-intercept form. So function A, the rate of change is 2, not 3. Oh, it looks like we can almost do this one without even checking the second part, but let's do it anyway. All right, if I look at function B, it looks like each one of these x values is increasing by 1. And it looks like each of these y values are increasing each time by positive 3. So 3 over 1 is 3. And let's just check ourselves. All right. This one is also 3. So both of these check out. Function A has a rate of change of 2, and function B has a rate of change of 3. So therefore, function B has a greater rate of change. And there's the answer to our problem. All right, so I hope you're doing good on these comparing function review problems. I hope they will help you as you prepare for the EOC. See you next time.